Welcome everybody. My name is Patricia Rosas and I am the lead specialist with the Retirements Office, and we are going to go ahead and talk about the retirement cycle. Don't miss the boat. Prepare now so that you don't have to worry later. And what that means is make sure that your points are updated, your service history is updated, any information that you may need to check on. Make this a continuous process that you're verifying your information is good to go, so that when you get ready for retirement, you're not having any errors in your history or anything like that. We're ready to press forward. Okay? This is the retirement life cycle. We're going to start with the retired reserves. And 20 years of SAT service is the golden rule. So to be eligible for retirement, you would need to have 20 years of satisfactory service. 15 to 20 years if you are retiring with a medical code, 31 or 37, but 20 years of satisfactory service to be eligible for reserve retirement. Reservists can apply for the retired reserves by applying on the application through the VPC website. When you go into the VPC website, you're going to go down to the retirements application and plug in your information. That will also be where you can track your application once it's been initiated. So it'll go through your chain of command, route off from there, get approved, go to the retirements office for final approval. We will go ahead and do a scrub of your record, make sure everything's good to go, and get it processed. If you do have a medical code on file, we do require medical documentation for anything between 15 to 20 years of service with a medical code. Any type of medical documentation from your unit or your medical unit to process that application. Transferring to the retired reserves, if you are coming up on an MSD or higher tenure for our reserves, your application is automatic, so you will come up on an MSD roster approximately 4 months after your MSD has hit. And that roster will come to the retirement office to build your retirement application. We ask that if you are having a ceremony or needing documentation, we highly encourage that you apply online for your application so that your documents are available for you for your ceremony, for your retirement, for anything that you're needing that for. We ask that, if you can apply online, that would be better for you to go ahead and do that yourself so that you can track your application throughout. If you are choosing to change date or withdraw your application altogether, there is some guidance on what you need to do to have that happen. If you are within 30 days of your actual retirement date, you need to have a signed MFR from your chain of command routed through your coordination explaining why you're requesting a change date or why you're requesting a withdrawal. And based on AFI 363203, it does need to be listed that it's in the best interest of the Air Force and why it's in the best interest of the Air Force. Once that has come to us, we will forward that up through the ARPC leadership, and the DPT director will make the final call on that. If you're outside the 30 days of your retirement date, we ask that you go back through your application on your work list and initiate your change date withdrawal request there, putting in your justification in your application, which will then automatically route back through your chain of command for approval or disapproval on your request. That will then come to us. It'll go back to our DPT director for final approval, and then we will make those changes as necessary. Time and grade. For officers 05 and above, it's 3 years satisfactory service. Majors and below is 6 months of satisfactory service. And that is coming from your current grade effective date, not date of rank. So when you're checking your records, make sure that you're going off of your current effective date for rank, not your date of rank. All officers separated due to MSD, age 60 medical disqualification, only need 6 months time and grade satisfactory service. Okay, so 6 months time and grade for MSD, age 60 or medical. Next, we're going to talk about the former member A former member is a person for whatever reason has decided to be separated or discharged instead of transferring to retired reserves. These members cannot come back and be enlisted just to retire. So these members will be eligible for pay at age 60. When we do our audit for those processes, these members do not accrue longevity service. So longevity service is time from when the member came into the service to the time the member starts drawing pay, all that time minus any breaks in service. So a former member, when they apply for retirement, their longevity service stops at date of separation. So they will still receive an ID card, and then their pay is based on high 3 or current pay scale, depending on when they came into the service. So if they came in after September of 1980, they will be considered high 3, which means that their pay will be calculated on the last 3 years of their time. Prior to 1980 will be final pay, and those are calculated based on the pay scale in effect at the time that they start drawing pay. Next is our active duty retirement process. For an active duty retirement, a member is eligible when they hit 20 years of total active federal military service, or TAFMS. Officers must have 10 years of active commissioned service, and their retired pay effective date is the first of the month. So a member cannot apply for the 10th day of the month. It has to be the first of any month that follows their 20 years of TAFMS. So again, an active duty member is based on total active federal military service, not SAT service. So that's something you'll want to watch for if you're looking for an active duty retirement. Reservists, same process. You will go through the VPC website and apply through the application process, attaching a completed DD 2656. And if you have a copy of the active duty orders that you're on taking you through your retirement date, you can attach those to your application as well. That will speed up the process and make sure that everything is done properly. It is mandatory for the member to supply, as we said before, the DD form 2656, but you also need to make sure that you're including your full banking information and making an SBP election. So if you had an election for RCSBP in the past, you still have to make a current SBP election when you're applying for an active duty retirement. What you had prior will not roll over for an active duty retirement. So we will be contacting you if you don't make an SBP election, or if you don't have your banking information supplied on your 2656, we will be reaching out to you to get that information so that we can press on with your application. We also ask that you please submit your active duty orders taking you to or past your retirement date. If you're not on active duty orders, we ask that you please indicate that in your application what your last day for points is going to be, so that we can go ahead and wait for those points to process into MilPDS before we actually finalize your audit and finalize your retirement process. Okay, we also ask that you indicate whether you're taking terminal leave, permissive leave, if you have out processing, or if you're having a ceremony date, we ask that you make sure all that information is updated for us so that we can finish that in a timely manner. If you are assigned to the headquarters file with total active federal military service of 20 years, you must apply through AFPC, which is the virtual MPF. So again, if you're assigned on the headquarters roles, you will have to apply through AFPC. Time and grade requirements for officers for active duty, very similar to a reserve retirement. However, for 05 and above, you must have 3 years of active duty time, not just SAT service, it's active duty time. And majors and below, it's 6 months of active duty service. If you're retiring with an MSD or involuntary separation from active duty, all officers is 6 months active duty. Next, we're going to talk about our Reduced Retired Pay Age application, or RRPA. To apply for the Reduced Retired Pay Age application, you would need to submit a VPC application no less than 6 months prior to your retirement. We ask that you make sure that you look through your application and note if any of your lines need to be updated, that's where that would need to be updated. At this time, the application has a few little glitches that we're working on. So if you can submit actual orders or DD-214s, that would help us tremendously make sure that your time is updated correctly. But we are working on getting that automated to where you don't need to submit those. So if you do submit an application and you don't submit the orders, we can update the application with what the system can pull. But if there's missing time, we just ask that you submit additional orders so that we can update those for you. Okay, so don't wait to be contacted. Use that online application if you think you have eligible service, because that will get you a date of when you can start drawing pay sooner than age 60. This application went into effect with the NDAA that was signed on 28 January 2008. Any time after 28 January 2008 could potentially be qualifying towards reducing your time down from 3 months increments from your 60th birthday. So age 60 applications, if you're coming up on age 60 and you think you have that could pull your date down, submit your documentation so that we can take a look at it. This beginning in fiscal year 2015-16, we can combine periods of 90 days, crossing those same fiscal years. So conjoining those fiscal years, we can add those times together. So if you have in fiscal year 15, 60 days of qualifying time, and in fiscal year 16, you have 30 days of qualifying time, those two periods can combine for a period of 90 days, which would bring you down 3 months from your 60th birthday. Prior to 15-16, it's 90-day increments within the same fiscal year. So you'll want to watch to make sure that what you're submitting is going to help with that 90-day periods. Okay, so there's a list of different qualifying times and non-qualifying times. If you have a question as to what time is qualifying and what time is not qualifying, we advise you to just go ahead and submit your active duty order to your application. So that way we can actually look at it and make sure. There's so many different scenarios. So please, if you're in question of any of your time, submit your orders and let us take a look at them. Okay, excuse me, RRPA cannot be reduced any lower than 50 years of age. Retired pay. So this is where when you have reached either your reduced retired pay age date, your age 60, anything like that, and you're ready to start drawing your retired pay, you're going to need to submit your retired pay application. So if you're working past age 60, you do need to have a Title 10 Section 12308 waiver approved and submitted with your application. This allows you time and service past age 60 towards your retired pay. If you're working up to age 60 or past age 60 to get to your 20 years of service, you do not need a signed 12308 waiver, but you will have to retire at the time you hit your 20-year mark. You must apply for retired pay. That is not automatic. You will be notified approximately 4 months prior to your 60th birthday that you are eligible to start drawing pay on your 60th birthday, and it will provide you the information on what you need to submit your application. It is the same way that you applied for your reserve retirement or active duty retirement. You go through the VPC website and apply using the application, submitting your DD form 2656 to start that process. Once you've submitted that, it will come to ARPC to start your retired pay, make sure everything's good to go. So if you choose not to start your pay on your 60th birthday for whatever reason, you have up to 6 years from your 60th birthday to actually start your retired pay and get back paid for those 6 years. Anything more than 6 years, you're only going to get paid for the 6 years and then going forward. Retired pay is calculated with 2 different ways. If you are coming in after 8 September 1980, you are considered high 3, which means the DFAS Pay Center is going to take the average of your last 3 years of basic pay and average them together to get your retired pay. Okay, so if you came in before 1980, September of 1980, you'll be final pay, which means that whatever pay scale is in effect at the time that you turn 60 or start your retired pay, that's the pay scale and the pay points that they're going to use to calculate your retired pay. Our general officers for the reserves will contact the headquarters AFREG office, and they will complete a Form 131. They will submit an IG check, and then they will complete the entire package and forward that to ARPC for us to create the application and get the process processed for them. Okay, so if you're a general officer coming up on your reserve retirement, please contact the headquarters AFREG office, and they will get your retired pay or retirement package submitted for you. Once you've hit your retirement date and we've submitted your retirement package, everything's been completed, you have your retirement orders, an incident is created to our outbound team to generate your retirement package. And in that package, you will receive a retirement certificate, a spouse certificate, a presidential certificate, a presidential letter if you've had 30 years of satisfactory service. You will receive a retirement pin and a retirement flag. So whether or not you're a reserve, IMA, whatever component, you will receive a retired flag from ARPC with your retirement package.
Hello, my name is Technical Sergeant Fernando Guzman. I'm a part of the Outbound team that's with the Directorate DPT. So this slide here is showing what we're going to discuss throughout the slides as far as what we do here at Outbound. So this is an example of a retirement application that we see in the MyPers console. And everything that we go off of for your retirement package is going to be taken straight out of the retirement application. And for the most part, we are not hand jamming anything. We are just copying and pasting. So it is imperative that we have an updated address. Many members will retire and not stay wherever they're retiring from. Most members will retire and move somewhere to retire, to live for the rest of their retirement. So it is imperative that we do have an updated address. And what you could do is you could go into MyPers and update that address. You could contact TFSC, shoot us an email. Again, foot stomping, it is imperative that we have an updated address. That way we get you your retirement package and it's not returned to us at a fee and then we have to resend it out at an additional cost. Okay, so another highlighted portion here is the spouse's name. If you do have a spouse, it is imperative that you spell your spouse's name correctly. There's been times where we'll get a message saying you've misspelled my spouse's name. In fact, it was not us, it was you. Like I said, we are not hand jamming anything, we are copying and pasting. So please spell your spouse's name correct. Also, if you are going to be having a ceremony date, down at the bottom left of the retirement application there, you do have to indicate what your date is because we do go by the ceremony dates as a priority in our queue, and we do try our very best to get each and every one of you your retirement package within 45 days of your ceremony. And all others that are not requiring a ceremony, the way we work them in our queue is just first in, first out. This is going to be the information of all the former presidents in case you or a member wants a presidential certificate signed by a former president. So what you would have to do is you would have to contact the former president's library, and they will be, each library is different, so the library will actually inform you of what documentation and information you need to send in order for them to go ahead and mail you out a presidential certificate from a former president. Again, this is another example of the former President Barack Obama's library and how to receive a presidential certificate from him and his library. If you have any questions at all, this slide is going to give you the information on how to contact us to go ahead and get your questions out there and hopefully answered in a timely manner. All right, thank you.